Jaideep? Jaideep Wadekar, can you unmute yourself? Ashutosh, can you unmute yourself? Ashutosh Raj, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Ashutosh Raj, can you unmute yourself? See, just merely
Yes.
logging in will not do. So I asked firstly to, I think, whom did I ask? Jaideep. Jaideep, are you there? Jaideep Wadekar. If you do not respond to my call, I will just assume that you are absent, and accordingly I will put it in the ERP. So now Ashutosh, keep yourself unmuted for some time. Can you? Ashutosh? Ashutosh Raj?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please keep yourself unmuted for some time. So
Okay, sir.
last time we discussed the concept of resultant. So if there are n number of forces acting on a body, and if you were to replace it by a single force and single moment, such that this pair of single force and single moment gives you the same effect on all points of the body as the system of forces was giving, then we call that as resultant. That's what we discussed last time. Is it correct, Ashutosh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now let us solve this problem so that in the process we will know intricacies about the resultant. So in this problem you have been shown a briefcase on which there are n number of forces acting. There are three forces acting in this case, 800 Newton, 600 Newton, and 1500 Newton. Their location, everything is given. The dimensions of briefcase are given. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And mind you, though I have shown this 800 Newton force acting at this corner, okay, let us give that distance as well. So this is center to center distance between the wheels, 600, and let us say this distance from center of the wheel to this face, that distance let us say is 50 mm. 50 mm. And this distance also is 50 mm from center of the wheel to the face. $50 mm. Okay, so these are the distances which are given. And what you have been asked? You have been asked to specify the resultant of forces as shown. Part A of this problem, you have to find out the resultant at point A, which is the left bottom corner, and at point B, this is the part B. So to start with, let us try and ask ourselves a question. What type of force system is it? So Ashutosh, tell me, do these forces lie in a single plane? Do lines of actions of all the forces lie in single plane? Ashutosh? Ashutosh Raj, can you unmute yourself? This is not going to work. Anmol, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So tell me what kind of do these forces lie in a single plane?
Yes, sir. They lie in a single plane, but not in a single direction.
Yes. So the first thing that we observe is lines of actions of all the forces do lie in a single plane. Lines of actions of forces lie in single plane. This is the first character.
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me, do lines of actions of all the forces pass through a single point?
Uh, no, sir.
Yeah. So we can't say. So that means lines of actions, LOAs, do not pass through single point. Do not pass through single point. Okay. In such case, we call this force system as coplanar because all the forces are lying in single plane. Are you with me?
Yes,
Coplanar
sir.
and concurrent force, non-concurrent force system. It would have been concurrent if lines of actions of all the forces pass through a single point. जो प्रॉब्लम हमने लास्ट क्लास में कंसिडर किए थे उन सब में we have shown all the forces passing through a single point. Therefore, those were concurrent coplanar force system. But this is now coplanar but non-concurrent force system. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can mute yourself now. Madhura, I want you to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So can you tell me what is the definition of concurrent force system? Madhura?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, they are the forces which whose line of action passes through a single point.
Yes. Is it required that the system should be coplanar for it to be concurrent?
No, sir.
No. So even if the system is not coplanar, then also lines of actions of all forces can pass through a single point, and then we are going to call it as concurrent force system. I hope everybody is clear now. So what is the categorization of this force system now? It is coplanar but non-concurrent force system. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now what is being asked? You have been asked to find out resultant of all these forces at point A as a first part of the problem and then at point B as a second part of problem. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how do we find out force resultant? ये तो हमने last class में किया है ना? It is like asking, what if I have to replace all these forces by a single force? तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? So already we have learned x component of the force resultant is equal to summation of x components of all the forces. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And it is algebraic sum. So can you tell me what is the summation? What will be the x component of 800 Newton? Tell me.
It will be 800 cos 20.
Yeah, and sine?
That would be the y component.
No. What will be the sine of x component?
Positive sign. Positive
Yeah.
sign.
So first of all, we have to choose positive x and y directions. Once that is done, then this 800 cos 20 is going to be positive. So I will write it as 800 cos 20. What else?
It would be 600 cos 45.
Yes, plus or minus plus जिसके and y cos because जिसके बीच में theta वो angle cos theta. So this is cos 45. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And this vertical component will not have any horizontal. This vertical force will not have any horizontal component.
Yes,
So
sir.
therefore, tell me how much is this. So what is summation fx or rx?
Mm.
Calculate and tell me.
Yes.
Ensure that your calculator is in degree mode.
So it is 1176.01.
11
76.01.
01, and unit will be Newton. And as it is positive, therefore it is directed along the positive x-axis, therefore it is towards right. Are you with me? Now,
Yes, sir.
quickly tell me what is Ry. Ry is summation Fy,
Mm.
and that is going to be equal to, what is the vertical component of 800?
Vertical component of 800 minus 800 sine 20.
Great. So minus 800 sine 20 plus,
Plus 1500.
no, plus 600 cos 45, sine 45.
Uh,
You agree
so
with
it
me?
would be minus 600 sine
No,
45.
no, how? 600 is directed in this direction. So if
Yes,
I
sir.
were to resolve this force into its two components, that means I have to
Okay.
complete the parallelogram this way.
Yes, sir, yeah.
So it
Yeah.
is going to be this way and this way.
Yeah.
Are you with me? Therefore, positive, these two components. So therefore 600 sine 45. That's correct. And now what about 1500? Is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Yeah, so minus 1500. Now tell me how much is this?
Yeah. Yes, sir. It will be minus 1349.35.
1349.35
49.35.
Newton, and therefore it is going to act in negative y direction and it is going to be downward. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell me what is R now? R is equal to square root of Rx square plus Ry square. Tell me how much is this? 1176.01 square plus
Plus
1349.35 square divide इसका square root. So we are solving right now the part A of the problem. So I will mention that. Yeah. Tell me. How much?
just a minute. It will be 1789.90.
1789.90
.90.
Newton. Do you agree with me? And what
Yes,
will
sir.
be the angle made by this resultant with reference to x-axis? So it will be tan inverse of magnitude of Ry. I said you should not worry about the sign here because quadrant is decided by sign of Rx and Ry. So it is going to be magnitude of Ry divided by Rx. Magnitude of Rx. So tell me how much is theta?
It is 48.926 degree. 926.
926 degree. Great. So now how does the Rx look like? I mean, how does R look like? So this is Rx. Positive था इसलिए towards right दिखाया. Ry is negative, shown downward. And this is going to be R. Are you with me? And it is going to make an angle theta. So what is the value of R and what is the value of theta? R is 1789. 1789.9 Newton. And what is the value of theta? Theta is equal to 48.926 degree. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is as far as the force resultant of the system is concerned. This is the force resultant. Now I will ask you, where is it going to ask? Where is it going to act? So at any point, if you have been asked the force resultant is this itself. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Force resultant is not going to change for the system, depending upon the point chosen on the body or off the body. Force resultant will remain same. Happy?
Yes, sir.
This is force resultant. Now, what about moment resultant? So as I said, such kind of systems which are non-concurrent are also going to have moment resultant. Why? Because if it is concurrent force system like this, all the forces, they do pass through single point. So there is no question of moment. Why? Because for moment we require force multiplied by perpendicular distance between line of action of force and that point. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
But if all the forces are passing through a single point, all lines of actions, they pass through that point, there is no question of moment. But when it is non-concurrent and coplanar force system, you should also worry about the moment resultant. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So there are always two types of resultants. One is force resultant. And now we are going to find out moment resultant. So how do we find out moment resultant? Moment resultant. So when you say moment resultant, then you have to specify at which point, because as you change the point, we have seen moment of a force goes on varying from point to point. Therefore, if you were to specify moment resultant, तो आपको point specify करना पड़ेगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So moment resultant at A. That means, let us say these are the forces acting on a body and I have to replace them by a resultant system at A. तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? सबसे पहले तो इतना R लगाना पड़ेगा. So at A you need to provide this R at this inclination. ये पहली चीज. और दूसरी चीज, अब ये जो मोमेंट रिजल्टेंट हम कैलकुलेट करेंगे at A, उतना मोमेंट वहां पे लगाना पड़ेगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So how do we calculate moment resultant? So यहाँ पे ध्यान दो. Is the axis specified? Axis specify किया है क्या? नहीं किया है ना?
No, sir.
Moment resultant about which axis? But as all these are coplanar forces, they lie in xy plane, so they can produce moment only about z axis. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So they will produce moment only about z axis. This is understood. Because it is coplanar force system in xy plane. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Coplanar in xy. So therefore they are going to produce moment only about z axis. So what are we trying to specify? We are trying to specify moment resultant about z axis passing through A. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Be very clear. We are specifying moment resultant about z axis passing through A. Let us say if this force system would have been coplanar in yz plane, तो moment कौन से axis के about होता?
X-axis.
करेक्ट. सो जो प्लेन में सारे फोर्सेस लाई कर रहे हैं, उसको परपेंडिकुलर एक्सिस के अबाउट ही वो मोमेंट प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
चलो. सो अब जरा कैलकुलेट करते हैं व्हाट इज दिस मोमेंट रिजल्टेंट. सो इट इज नथिंग बट summation. This moment resultant, let me call it as M, is going to be summation of moments of all the forces about z axis passing through A. Do you agree with me? देखो
Yes,
ये
sir.
सारा इंफॉर्मेशन मैंने कैसे लिखा है. Moment resultant M is going to be summation of moments of all the forces about Z axis passing through A. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So what are the forces? There are three forces: 800, 600 and 1500. If I were to write down moment of 800 about Z axis passing through A, तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? I will have to extend this line of action. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And okay, 1 minute. I will have to extend this line of action. And I will have to draw perpendicular from A on this line. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Are you with me? And this perpendicular distance multiplied by 800 and it is going to produce clockwise movement. Do you see? At A, it is going to produce clockwise movement.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? ये परपेंडिकुलर डिस्टेंस फाइंड आउट करके फिर 800 को उससे मल्टीप्लाई करो एंड देन से क्लॉकवाइज मूवमेंट ड्यू टू 800 अबाउट ए इज दिस मच. ऐसे करना पड़ेगा. बट calculating this perpendicular distance is hell of a task. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what do we do? तो हम इस तरीके से ये कैलकुलेट नहीं करते. We have already resolved 800 into two components. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
एक कंपोनेंट है ऐसा. Are you with me? और दूसरा कंपोनेंट है ऐसा. Are you with me? This is how
Yes,
we
sir.
have resolved 800. Similarly, we have resolved 600. कैसे? एक कंपोनेंट है ऐसा और दूसरा कंपोनेंट है ऐसा. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
एंड 1500 के तो दो कंपोनेंट है नहीं, उसका सिर्फ वर्टिकल कंपोनेंट वर्टिकल ही है वो. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
नाउ लेट अस से आई हैव टू फाइंड आउट मोमेंट ऑफ ए वर्टिकल कंपोनेंट ऑफ 800 न्यूटन फोर्स एट ए. तो वो कितना आएगा? सो इसका जो लाइन ऑफ एक्शन है उसके ऊपर मुझे ए से परपेंडिकुलर ड्रॉ करना पड़ेगा एंड दैट इज as this line of action passes through A, it does not produce any moment. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
देखो, जो कि ये 800 न्यूटन का फोर्स है वो ए पॉइंट में से ही पास होता है. सो हाउ कैन इट प्रोड्यूस एनी मोमेंट अबाउट इट? इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. परपेंडिकुलर डिस्टेंस बिटवीन ए एंड लाइन ऑफ एक्शन ऑफ 800 न्यूटन इज जीरो. हैप्पी?
Yes, sir.
सो बट स्टिल आई विल राइट दैट. सो दिस इज इक्वल टू, चलो लिख रहा हूं अभी मैं, 800. व्हाट इज वर्टिकल कंपोनेंट? 800. बोलो.
Sine 20.
अब जरा देखो, 800 साइन 20, इसका साइन निगेटिव है बिकॉज इट इज एक्टिंग वर्टिकली डाउनवर्ड. डू यू एग्री विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
बट जब हम मोमेंट कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो हम वो डायरेक्शन लेके ही डायरेक्टली वो क्लॉकवाइज है या एंटी क्लॉकवाइज है वो देखते हैं. देयरफॉर मोमेंट के लिए साइन कन्वेंशन ये -800 साइन 20 ऐसे नहीं लेना है. आर यू विथ मी? You have
Yes,
to
sir.
see whether that component is producing clockwise movement or anti-clockwise movement at A. So what is the sign convention? Clockwise positive, clockwise negative, and anti-clockwise movement, we are going to treat it as positive. This is the sign convention. So for movement, refrain from any sign convention that we use for force. We have to see whether that component is producing clockwise or anti-clockwise movement about Z axis passing through A and accordingly call it as positive or negative. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So what is the vertical component? 800 sine 20. Happy?
Yes, sir.
This multiplied by perpendicular distance between the line of action of force and point A itself, that is 0. Because vertical component is passing through A. Happy?
Yes, sir.
What is its horizontal component? 800 cos 20. Are you with me? And what kind
Yes,
of moment does it produce about A? Clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise.
Clockwise. It is going to produce clockwise moment. And how much that will be? From A, I have to draw perpendicular on line of action of this horizontal component. That is nothing but this distance. And that is given as 800 mm in the problem. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So how much that moment will be? 800 cos 20 into 800 and sign will be negative because it is clockwise.
Yes, sir.
देखो, 800 cos 20 का साइन तो पॉजिटिव है, but we are now writing down the sign for moment produced by 800 cos 20 and that moment about Z axis passing through A is clockwise, therefore we are going to give negative sign. किसी को इसमें कुछ भी डाउट है तो अभी पूछ लो, Negative sign stands for the clockwise nature of the moment. Are you with me? This multiplied by 800. Now, what can you say about moment of this 600 component of 600? How much is vertical component of 600? 600 sine 45. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Does its line of action pass through A?
No.
No.
Yes.
So what will be the moment? 600 sine 45 multiplied by perpendicular distance. So if I were to extend this vertical line and if I were to drop perpendicular from A, that distance is 600 plus 50 plus 50. That is 700. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So 600 sin 45 multiplied by 700. और साइन बोलो कौन सा होगा इसका, क्लॉकवाइज है या एंटी क्लॉकवाइज है मोमेंट? देखो, फॉर योर ईज आई विल ड्रॉ द ब्रीफ केस हियर. This is the vertical component of 600 Newton force. So it produces what kind of moment about A?
Anti-clockwise.
So is it producing anti-clockwise moment? Do you
Yes,
agree
sir.
with me? So therefore, what should I write? 600 sine 45. This component is 600 sine 45. And perpendicular distance between line of action of this force and this point is 700. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So plus 600 plus 600 sine 45 multiplied by 700 is the moment. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, चलो अब आगे चलते हैं. What about the horizontal component? Horizontal component of 600 sine 40, 600 is 600 cos 45. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now what kind of moment does it produce about this point A?
Clockwise.
देखो, clockwise. So it is going to produce clockwise moment. And what is that moment? From this point, I have to draw perpendicular on this line of action of 600. So how much is that distance?
800.
This distance is 800. So it is going to be 600 cos 45 into 800. Do you agree with me? And
Yes,
minus.
sir.
Why? Because it produces clockwise moment. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Into 800. चलो, और किसका मोमेंट आने वाला है? ये रेड कलर में जो मार्क किया है मैंने फोर्स 1500 न्यूटन, उसका मोमेंट आएगा. नाउ इफ आई ड्रॉप परपेंडिकुलर फ्रॉम ए on line of action of this vertical force, this is this distance. So how much is that distance? 300 is up to the center of the wheel plus this 50. So ये distance कितना हुआ? 350. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of movement does it produce? I will draw a sketch for your understanding here.
Clockwise.
About A. Which kind of movement does it produce?
Clockwise.
Clockwise. And what is the magnitude? This distance is how much? This distance is 350.
Yeah.
And this is 1500. So how much it is going to be? 1500 into 350 clockwise. So it is going to be minus 1500. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Into 350. Now what is the unit of moment? Newton mm. Lengths are substituted in mm. Force is substituted in Newton. So therefore, unit of moment now here is Newton mm. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So simply means calculate this and tell me how much is the final answer. So what is the moment?
So it will be 1168
1168
829
829
0.68.
0.68
Yes, sir.
Newton mm. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, तो ये नंबर देख के हमें इसके मैग्नीट्यूड का एहसास नहीं होता. डू यू एग्री विथ मी? वी फील दैट इट इज ए ह्यूज नंबर. डू यू एग्री विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
So we will first of all have some feeling about these numbers. सिर्फ ये कुछ तो आंसर आया और छोड़ दिया ऐसे नहीं. This is hardcore physics going on. So you must have understanding of magnitude of the moment. तो उसके बारे में हम थोड़ा सा सोचेंगे बाद में. But let us first write down the answer. So what is the resultant of this force system at A? दो तरीके के रिजल्टेंट है. कौन से? एक मोमेंट रिजल्टेंट और एक फोर्स रिजल्टेंट. सो कैन आई नाउ राइट डाउन द आंसर? आंसर इसका कैसे लिखना है वो अब देखने की कोशिश करते हैं. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, resultant at A कैसे लिखेंगे? देखो, I will mark this point as A. देखो, I have to mark this point as A. Then I am going to show this R. I am going to show this theta. Are you with me? And I am going to now tell me what was the sign of this moment. Is it positive or negative? I wonder. It cannot be positive. It has to be negative. Check once. Somebody else also cross verify the answer and tell me if the sign is negative. You can unmute and tell me. One minute. So I need to cross verify. So I will do it on calculator. Give me a minute. So minus 800 cos of 20 into 800 plus 600 sine of 45 into 700 minus 600 cos 45 into 800 minus 1500 into 350. So I get the answer as minus, earlier answer was means I am also getting this answer, my 1168,829.68. Just check, let me check whether my calculator is in degree or radian mode. So sine 30, I should get half. Correct, it is in degree mode. So this is the final answer. Madhura, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So यही मिला था ना आपको आंसर?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we will write down, as it is negative, therefore we have to say that it is clockwise. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And once you show it clockwise here, you need not write down negative sign. So here I am going to denote this as 1168,829.68. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And this is in Newton mm. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Acha. And what is the value of R? R is 1789.9. Once you have shown the direction by arrows, you need not write down any sign because the sign is taken care of by directions. This is 48.926 degrees. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब यह है, if you remove all the forces acting on a body, that these three forces acting on a body, not all, these three forces acting on a body, And if you replace them by R equal to 1789.9 Newton, making an angle of 48.926 degrees clockwise with reference to positive x, and by the moment 1168829.68 Newton mm at A, then it will have the same effect as this system of forces had, not only at A, but at all other points on the body as well. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the take home message for coplanar but not non-concurrent force system? Typically, generally, we will have two resultants. One is called as force resultant, another one is called as moment resultant. And out of that, moment resultant is going to vary from point to point, whereas the force resultant is going to remain same. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, so ये भी पॉइंट हम नेक्स्ट प्रॉब्लम जब सॉल्व करेंगे पार्ट बी ऑफ दिस वो कैसे करना है वो दिखाता हूं. बट द समरी पॉइंट इज दिस: इफ यू हैव नॉन कंकरेंट कोप्लेनर फोर्स सिस्टम एक्टिंग ऑन ए बॉडी, their resultant has two parts. One is force resultant, another is moment resultant. Force resultant remains same everywhere on the body. Moment resultant changes from point to point. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
अब जरा ये नंबर समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. सो मधुरा, माय वेट इज लेट अस से 71 kg. So that means if I stand on weighing balance, it is going to show me 71 kg. So is it really my weight or is it the mass? Tell me.
It's
Let
your
us
weight.
take a digress. I am just trying to imbibe on you something about these numbers. कुछ तो अंदाजा होना चाहिए ये नंबर कितने हैं. So when I go on weighing balance and check my weight, it is 71 kg. Is it the weight or mass? That you should tell me. Madhura?
It's the weight, sir.
No. What is weight? Is weight a force? Do you agree with me? Weight मतलब force है कि नहीं?
Yeah.
तो weight का यूनिट क्या होना चाहिए? न्यूटन होना चाहिए ना. लेकिन
Yes,
आपको
sir.
मिलता है केजी में. केजी मीटर पर सेकंड स्क्वायर ये यूनिट होना चाहिए वेट का. डू यू एग्री विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, unfortunately, ironically, weighing balance gives you your mass, not the weight. Are you with me? So
Yes, sir.
71 kg, let us say if that is my weight, then in fact what I am trying to say is 71 multiplied by 9.81. This is the gravitational acceleration on Earth. If you change the planet, the weight is going to change, but the mass will remain same, 71 kg. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, this is going to be 71 into 9.81 Newton. So let us approximate this to 10. इसको अगर मैंने 10 से approximate किया, so approximately how much do I weigh? I weigh somewhere around 710 Newton. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what is this number? 1789.9 Newton. मतलब ये इसके कितने टाइम्स है? Approximately 2.5 times. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
70 kg into 2.5 times is this resultant 7789.9 Newton. So now do you get feeling? मेरे जैसे दो 2.5 people, if they stand on one another, जितना force generate होगा उतना force इस back पे A point पे लगाना है.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you able to now imagine? Are you able to have some feeling about how much is the force?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now व्हाट अबाउट दिस मोमेंट? ये मोमेंट का हम फील कैसे ले? तो अब जरा एक काम करते हैं. लेट अस से आई स्टैंड ऑन ए कैंटिलीवर. ऐसे कैंटिलीवर आपने देखे है ना. लेट अस से दिस इज द वुडन फ्लैट प्लेट on which I am standing, and this is fixed here. That plate is fixed here. Let us say I am standing here. What is my weight? 710 Newton. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And let us say this length between this point and this point is 1 meter. So what is the moment that gets generated here? जरा आप बता सकते हो मुझे? 710 into 1000 mm.
Yeah.
अभी न्यूटन mm में आंसर लिखा है ना, इसलिए यहां भी mm में किया मैंने. Are you with me?
Yes.
And this is in Newton. So how much is that? 710,000 Newton mm. ये मूवमेंट अब आप इमेजिन कर सकते हो. यू आर स्टैंडिंग ऑन ए वुडन प्लेट at this location. It will produce at this juncture the moment of 710,000 Newton mm. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, whatever is this number 1168,829.68 divided by 710,000 and tell me what is the answer. Hmm. 1168,829.68 divided by 710,000.
1.646.
1.646.
646.
हाँ, so this into 1.46 times अगर आपने किया तो जितना मूवमेंट जनरेट होता है उतना मूवमेंट ए के यहाँ पे एक्ट हो रहा है. आर यू एबल टू इमेजिन दिस नाउ?
Yes, sir.
Let us say so this is how you have to correlate and understand. Should have gut feeling of movement as well as the force that we are talking about, magnitudes of movement and force. So it is not very high. You can understand that both these values are not very high for a briefcase to sustain. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this was digress. This is not the part of solution. So I will just round it off. Later on, there should be no confusion. This is just to make you aware of the physical understanding of numbers. चलो, अब दूसरा पार्ट हम सॉल्व करेंगे. कौन सा पार्ट सॉल्व करेंगे? We have to find out now resultant of these three forces at B. यहाँ पे find out करना है. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. So let us solve the second part. Part B. So now tell me, is force resultant going to change? No. Force,
No.
because Rx is going to remain same, Ry is going to remain same. So square root of Rx square plus Ry square is going to remain same. So force resultant doesn't change. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So force resultant at B is same as that at A. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy paste for completeness. I will just copy paste these things there. This is not going to change. That's what I mean to say. So so you have to show these steps only to arrive at the force resultant. Now what about moment resultant? Is it going to change?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because we have changed the point where we are finding out the moments, and we have discussed in moment of a force that it changes from point to point on the body. Moment resultant at B. We have to understand that it is about Z axis passing through B. Happy?
Yes, sir.
चलो, कितना है? So what we need to do is we need to do this moment resultant M. वो पहले वाला था, वो A पे था. So I will write it as A. Are you with me? So I will give the suffix A here.
Yes, sir.
moment resultant at B is equal to summation of moments of all the forces about z-axis passing through z-axis passing through B. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, so चलो कैलकुलेट करते हैं. वैसे ही करने वाले हैं. We are going to divide. We are going to do resolution of forces and then finding out. We are going to find out moment at B. Now tell me, 800 sine 20 vertical component of 800. Is it going to have moment at B?
Yes, sir.
So for your ease, I will draw the diagram. This is 800 sine 20. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is the point now under consideration. And what is the distance, perpendicular distance between line of action of 800 sine 20 and B? It is 700. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is this distance and that is 700. What kind of moment does it produce?
Anti-clockwise direction.
So this is anti-clockwise moment. So what should I write? Anti-clockwise, therefore positive.
Positive.
Then 800 sine 20. देखो 800 sin 20 is the downward component. उसका sign negative है. That negative sign has nothing to do here. We have to look at whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise about B. Whether it is producing clockwise moment or anti-clockwise moment about B. वो 800 sin 20 positive होने दो, negative होने दो. उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है. If it produces anti-clockwise moment about z-axis passing through point B, we are going to call it as positive. That moment as positive. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Very carefully remember this. This is where most of the students make mistakes. Now, chalo. So ये 800 sin 20 हुआ. Now what about its horizontal component? कैसे है horizontal component? 800 cos 20.
Cos
And
20.
what is the distance of point B? Perpendicular distance of point B from 800 cos 20's line of action. It is 800.
800.
Do you agree with me? So I
Yes,
will
sir.
show that force here. Let us show it by different. So this is how much? 800 cos 20. And how much is this distance? This distance is 800 mm. And what kind of movement does it produce about B? Clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise.
So clockwise. So I will have to say minus 800 cos 20 into 800. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Chalo. Now let us look at vertical component of 600. Its line of action passes through B, so it won't produce any moment. Do you agree with me?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So I will write down that vertical component is 600 sine 45. 600 sine 45 into 0. Plus minus कुछ भी बोलो इसको. 0. Why? Because that component has its line of action passing through B itself. So perpendicular distance between B and line of action of vertical component of 600 Newton is 0. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And what about its horizontal component? 600 cos 45. तो 600 cos 45 कहाँ पे act हो रहा है? It is going to act here. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
600 cos 45. What is the perpendicular distance between line of action of this force and B? It is 800.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with me? And what kind of moment does it produce? Clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise.
So I am writing it as clockwise. So minus 600 cos 45. This color code I am maintaining so that later on if you refer this, then you will easily get the sign and everything. So 600 cos 45 multiplied by 800. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What else? We have 1500 Newton force as well.
Yes, sir.
What is the perpendicular distance between B and line of action of 1500?
350 mm.
Yes, because this is 300. plus you are also going to have this 50. So distance is 350. So that I will show it here by another. So this is how much? 1500. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
What is this distance? 350. What kind of movement does it produce about B? Anti-clockwise.
In anti-clockwise.
So therefore, I am going to have plus sign, plus 1500 into 350.
Yes.
Happy?
Yes, sir.
So, अब बताओ, what is the answer? Do this and tell.
Yep.
No, now it can't be minus. I hope so. देखना पड़ेगा. 800 sine 20 multiplied by 700 minus 800 cos 20 multiplied by 800 plus 600 sine 45. Oh, sine 45 vanishes. So sine, not sine 45. 600 cos 45. 1 minute. Minus 600 cos 45. Minus. In
Minus
into 800. Just give me a minute. Plus 1500 multiplied by 350. So it is minus 22, 42, 83. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So even here also it is clockwise. 0.25 Newton mm. Therefore, clockwise. So how should I write the answer? जैसे यहाँ लिखा था यही कॉपी करता हूँ इसमें ही चेंजेस करेंगे. So we have to now write down the answer for resultant at B. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So how do I write that? So I will make changes here itself. So resultant of A के जगह अब होगा resultant at B. चेंज जो लिख रहा हूं मैं ब्लैक में लिखता हूं. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, ये जो मोमेंट M है ये भी क्लॉकवाइज ही रहेगा. सो आई विल शो इट एज क्लॉकवाइज इटसेल्फ. ये जो पॉइंट A है वो मुझे B लिखना पड़ेगा अभी. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
और M जो यहाँ पे M at A था वो अब M at B होगा. And how much is that? That is 224283.25. Happy? So answer should look something like this. This is R, this is theta. You must mention B here and you must show the clockwise movement. M at B. And write down the answer. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So what does it mean if I were to replace all these forces by its resultant at B? तो मुझे दो तरीके के रिजल्टेंट लगाने पड़ेंगे. एक फोर्स रिजल्टेंट और दूसरा मोमेंट रिजल्टेंट. उनके मैग्नीट्यूड यहाँ पे दिए हैं. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So once again I reiterate the point that if you change the point where you are finding out resultant of coplanar non-concurrent force system, the force resultant remains unaltered, but the moment resultant changes from point to point. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
अब आज का क्लास हम खत्म करेंगे by asking ourselves one question. Can I find out points where moment resultant vanishes or moment resultant becomes zero? Are you with me?
Yes.
This is the question that we pose now to ourselves. अब जरा reverse process है. I want to find out locus of all those points. Where if I place the resultant, force resultant, by that I mean force resultant, the moment resultant vanishes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
मतलब उस पॉइंट पे सिर्फ फोर्स रिजल्टेंट होगा इस सिस्टम का, मोमेंट रिजल्टेंट होगा ही नहीं. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो देखो रिजल्टेंट फाइंड करने में दो तरीके के प्रॉब्लम्स हमें सॉल्व करने पड़ते हैं. व्हाई डू वी रिक्वायर दैट? वो हम जब प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेंगे और प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स, ये तो आज का हमारा कंसेप्चुअल प्रॉब्लम है, बट व्हेन वी सॉल्व सम प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स आफ्टर दिस डिस्कशन यू विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली नेसेसरी. So first thing, if I specify a point on the body and if I ask you to find out the resultant of coplanar non-concurrent force system there, typically it is going to have force resultant as well as moment resultant. Do you agree with me?
Yes,
Point
sir.
number one. Point number two, if the forces lie in xy plane, that moment resultant is going to be about z axis. Point number two. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And if I simply ask you to find out resultant of this force system, तो इसका मतलब है I have not specified a point. So I want you to find out a point where moment resultant becomes zero and only force resultant prevails. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो इसी प्रॉब्लम का वर्डिंग अब हम प्रॉब्लम नंबर 15 में ऐसे करेंगे. फाइंड आउट force resultant of this system and the point where it acts. मतलब मोमेंट रिजल्टेंट नहीं चाहिए. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
पहले तो ऐसा एक पॉइंट है या अनेक पॉइंट है, तो उस ऐसे मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स होते हैं. देयर इज पॉसिबल, इट इज पॉसिबल दैट यू कैन हैव रिजल्टेंट एट दोज मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स एंड मोमेंट रिजल्टेंट वैनिशेस, ओनली फोर्स रिजल्टेंट प्रिवेल्स. आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो ये प्रॉब्लम अब हम नेक्स्ट क्लास में सॉल्व करेंगे. अब ये टिपिकली ऑल दिस इज एक्सप्लेन्ड एज ए थ्योरी इन मोस्ट ऑफ द क्लासेस और इन मोस्ट ऑफ द बुक्स. कैसे एक्सप्लेन करते हैं? थ्योरी जैसा. बट मैंने इंटेंशनली प्रॉब्लम लिया है सो दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड बेटर. सो क्या थ्योरी का पॉइंट कौन सा है इसके पीछे? कोप्लेनर नॉन कंकरेंट फोर्स सिस्टम. You ask me to find out resultant at a point and typically I will have two resultant. कौन से? Moment and force resultant. Are you with me?
Yes. Yes, sir.
If you ask me only to find out force resultant, then I will have to also specify locations of the points where the moment resultant vanishes and only force resultant prevails. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's what we are going to discuss next. That is the trailer of next lecture. So let us stop here today. So write down your roll number and name in the chat box and then you can leave the meeting. If anyone has any doubts, you can raise it now. Or otherwise, we will stop. Chalo, Kushagra, Muskan, and other two people. Shashank, have you written your name and roll number? If so, you can leave the meeting. So once the last person leaves, I will close the meeting. Okay, I'm closing the meeting now.